I get it every time I scroll through a laptop listing. I'm hit with the same disappointment. The glossy photos promise buttery smooth gaming, a crystal clear screen, and a chassis that won't melt my lap, but when the box arrives the reality feels off. You've probably been there, and you're probably wondering how to avoid that letdown before you click buy now. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Lenovo Yoga Slim 7X tries to be the answer to that problem. It's marketed as a 14.5-inch ultra-thin gaming notebook that runs on a Snapdragon X Elite processor, packs 32 GB of LPDDR5X RAM, a full-size 1TB SSD, and a 3K OLED touchscreen that can hit 1000 nits. On paper it reads like a dream for anyone who wants a portable powerhouse, but the real question is whether it lives up to those claims when you actually sit down to play a modern title, stream, or even just edit video on the go. First off, the display is where the Yoga Slim 7X truly shines. The OLED panel delivers deep blacks and vivid colors that make a game like Cyberpunk 2077 feel almost cinematic, even at the 14.5-inch size. The 3K resolution means UI elements stay sharp, and the 1000 nit peak brightness is a real lifesaver if you're gaming in a bright cafe or near a window. Because it's a touchscreen, you can also navigate menus or sketch concepts without needing an external mouse, which is handy for creative work between gaming sessions. The downside: the high resolution and OLED tech together chew through the battery faster than a typical 1080p IPS panel would. In my own testing, the laptop managed roughly 4 hours of mixed gaming and streaming before the charger was needed, a respectable figure for an OLED, but not something you'd expect from a 15-inch gaming beast with a larger battery pack. Heat and fan noise are the next big concerns for a thin chassis. The Snapdragon X Elite is a newer ARM-based chip that promises efficient performance, and Lenovo's AI Core does a decent job throttling the processor when the workload spikes. In practice, playing a GPU-intensive title like Shadow of the Tomb Raider at medium settings kept the laptop's surface temperature around 38°C, which is comfortable enough to rest on your lap. The fan, however, does become audible when the GPU ramps up for a sudden burst of action. Think of an explosion in a shooter. It's not a full-blown roar, but it's noticeable enough that you might want to use headphones if you're in a quiet environment. Keyboard feel is another practical point. Lenovo gives the Yoga Slim 7X a 1.5mm key travel and a slightly concave keycap design. For gamers accustomed to mechanical switches, the travel feels light but still offers a satisfying tactile response that reduces missed keystrokes during fast-paced matches. The layout includes the standard WASD cluster, but the keys are a bit closer together than on a dedicated gaming laptop, which might feel cramped for someone with larger hands. Still, for most users who blend work, study, and occasional gaming, the typing experience is more than adequate. Portability is where the Yoga Slim 7X really differentiates itself from the typical 17-inch gaming rigs you see in esports arenas. At just 2.82 pounds and a thickness that barely clears a paperback, you can slip it into a backpack and carry it on a train without worrying about shoulder strain. Wi-Fi 7 support also means lower latency and higher throughput if you have a compatible router, which translates to smoother online matches, especially when you're on the move. The trade-off, though, is that the slimmer body limits the size of the cooling solution, which is why you'll notice the fan kicking in more often than on a bulkier machine. Now, let's talk about who should actually consider buying this laptop. If you're a gamer who travels a lot, think digital nomads, college students, or professionals who need a secondary device for both work and play, the Yoga Slim 7X checks a lot of boxes. The combination of a high-quality OLED screen, solid ARM performance, and a light chassis makes it a compelling option for someone who wants to game in cafes, hotel rooms, or on a balcony without lugging around a desktop tower. It also appeals to creators who need the color accuracy of OLED for photo or video editing, while still being able to launch a game or two without the system screaming. On the flip side, if you're a hardcore gamer who spends most of your time at a desk, cranking settings to ultra on AAA titles, the Yoga Slim 7X may feel underpowered. The Snapdragon X Elite, while efficient, doesn't match the raw horsepower of a high-end NVIDIA RTX mobile GPU. Expect to dial settings down to medium or high rather than ultra, especially in newer releases. Also, if you prioritize long battery life for marathon gaming sessions, A larger laptop with a 70 mAh battery will outlast this 14.5-inch model. Finally, anyone who insists on a mechanical keyboard with distinct clicky feedback might find the keyboard too muted. From a value perspective, the price point sits somewhere between ultra-portable ultrabooks and traditional gaming laptops. You're paying a premium for the OLED.